Today we are going to talk about DOM elements. So DOM elements are basically used to add, get, change or delete HTML elements. So the methods we are going to discuss on how to get, the first thing that we are going to discuss is on how to get the HTML elements. To get the HTML elements, we can either use GetElementbyID, GetElement by the tag name, or GetElement by the class name. So we must start by document.getElementbyID, for instance, or document getElement by the tag name or class name. So we must always start with the word document. So to change the HTML elements, we use the element name, then probably the inner HTML, then the content that you want to be inserted on that tag, probably. So for now, let me just take you directly to the practicals. So here we have how to change HTML elements, probably if you want to change a style and all that, attribute. You can also add and delete the elements. To add, you always use create element. So when you say document.createElement, then the element name, probably a paragraph, div, header, anything. So we just always start with document.createElement, then what you want to create. You can also remove, you can append, you can replace, you can also write a text. So we are going to discuss about getting HTML element by ID. So this is already coded, but for explanation and probably for us to move faster, I just explain the code that does that and how we are applying the DOM elements to manipulate this data. So this is my HTML page. Assume this is my first section for this. So this is the header, get HTML element by ID. Then we have the first paragraph with the p tag, and I have given it an ID of intro, which says we love JavaScript. Then I have my second paragraph. However, I need to recall this sentence here. How will I do that? So what I mean is, I have this as my first paragraph, I had my second paragraph, but I have to repeat this here. What will I do? So for what I need to do is, my third paragraph, I have given it a class. You notice that there is nothing here inside here. Probably what I could have done, in case I wanted that, I could have just done this. But I don't want that. I don't want to repeat myself. So that's why I'm giving it a class, and probably what it needs to do, it needs to borrow from the first paragraph. So to illustrate this, using GetElementbyID, what I need to do, I need to connect my HTML page to JavaScript. That's the first thing. So my JavaScript file is called script.js in the same base directory as my HTML, as my index.html file. Therefore, to do this, to call this sentence here, the first paragraph, I already have an ID of intro. So on my script.js file, I need to say document.getElementbyID. Then I get this element, whatever is inside that element, by using inner.html. Once I correct that and store it in a variable or in a constant, because I don't want it to change, now I get this element by ID and create an inner HTML which is equivalent to this. What do I mean? In my script.js file, I'm creating a constant called intro. This intro is equivalent to document.getElementbyId from intro. Where was intro? This is where we had intro. Once document.getElementbyId, the intro dot inner HTML. What I mean is I'm correcting whatever is in this ID. So I correct the inner HTML, what we have here, and store it in a variable we are calling intro. I hope that's clear. Once I've done that, then I call this by saying document.getElementbyId, and I call this. However, I want to assign a value here, so I say document.getElementbyId, the class name, the new class name that I want to assign to, dot inner HTML, which is equivalent to this. So this is actually the same if I said instead by putting all this here. So in case I came and put all this here, let us say how it behaves. If I put all that here and I come to my page, you can see we still have the same thing. Probably let me delete this statement and put it as empty. Then in case I come to my page, you see it's deleted, it's not here. So what I mean, if I revert back, we now have it. What I basically mean, I'm storing all this from the initial ID into intro, and when calling my second ID, I assign it to an inner HTML to my constant. So what we have discussed during the first section is trying to get element by ID and assigning it to another ID. So that's the first use of getElementbyId as the inner HTML elements. So in the next lesson, then we can discuss about how to get element by tag name. Hopes to see you in the next lesson. Thank you.